Hey y'all, just checking in before bed that none of y'all's trying to out Pizza the Hut. It's a jailable offense on this channel. Anyway, this is the start of a vlog, so that was very aggressive, but hi. I am between reads right now, so I got to do my favorite activity, which is decide what I'm gonna read next. And I figured because I've read a lot of big brain things lately, I'm going to resort back to my hind brain, my caveman instincts. And I want to read a book that I've been avoiding for years now at this point for no good reason. And I want to start Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is like the gorgeous hardcover edition that my library just got, and I also have it on Kindle Unlimited, so we are double trouble. I admittedly have been putting this off because I have a weird complex where I'm scared I'm not going to like it as much as the hype has suggested, which is fine if I don't. But I've been really scared of reading popular books like this because I don't want to be a contrarian. And Shelby did read this last year and she said it was like a 4-star book, like it was pretty good, so now I feel like it has credentials. And for a romance, it's actually pretty thick. It's like 400 pages and this is a tall hardback. I chose this specifically because it does have kind of wintry vibes. As you can tell, the cover has snowflakes all over it, but if you don't know somehow, this is a college romance about a figure skater who's like set on getting to the Olympics and a hockey player, and they have to share a rink, and it's like rivals slash annoyance to lovers. I don't want to say enemies because you're not a sword wielding magician. You are not enemies, you're just rivals. But yeah, it is like 10:45, so I'm sure I'm gonna get 10 pages in and get sleepy and want to go to bed. But I feel like a grandmother right now because I am about to take some motion sickness medicine. I feel elderly, but I watched a YouTube video earlier of someone doing an apartment tour and the camera work was so shaky it literally gave me a headache. And I don't know whether I should be taking a Tylenol or Dramamine. I don't have Tylenol, therefore I'm taking Dramamine. This has been a recent occurrence in my life that I've had to get used to, of getting more and more motion sick. And when I was on a boat tour of Manhattan a couple months ago, I got real seasick. And I was talking to this other girl who was also feeling seasick, and she was like, yeah, I've had concussions and that's why I can't do this. And I was like, oh my god, I've had concussions. Is it because we're the concussion girls? I also felt really sick when we were at Disney riding roller coasters, which made me so sad. And reading might not help my headache, but I have to start a book before I go to bed or it doesn't feel like it's been a night. Hi, it's Monday. We lost a whole day of time because I didn't vlog for one single second yesterday. I had a real big rot day in bed on Sunday. I was having what I would call the Sunday scaries. It is going to be my first time going into office since like mid-December. Was not looking forward to that, so I decided to lay in bed about it all day. I did set up my hands-free Kindle stand. I got to page 280 in a day. This book slays. It's not a perfect book. I'm not gonna give it 5 stars. If I owned it, I'd probably give it to Half Price Books, but I'm having a really fun time with it. It's been a long time since I've read a romance book where I just thought it was fun. This book has me giggling out loud. This book has me like reacting out loud. I'm like, oh my god. It is very sexual, so all the 12-year-olds who are toting this around and reading it in middle school, y'all good? I will say it's nothing inventive. I do like the characters though, which is what's keeping it really afloat for me. The main character is like snarky, but not contrived snarky, and the main guy isn't just like a sports douchebag guy. They're both like in therapy, so they talk to each other and they are very honest with each other, which I think puts a band-aid on a world of hurt. Despite it being a sports romance, I keep joking with Bonnie that where's the sports romance, because all they do is go to parties, and they hooked up in this book before either of them even saw each other skate, so it's a lot less of a sports romance and more about college. Even then, that's not entirely accurate because they don't go to class. So the pacing of this can sometimes be weird because it'll be like 2 weeks later we did this. I'm like, hold on, are we in college or what's going on? But yeah, I love the characters. The fact that you're getting to know the team that Nathan leads, I think is very sweet. There's like possessiveness, but it's not over the top. And she's really confident in herself. I don't know, I like it. It's good. It's definitely like 4 stars. There was a plot twist that I was like, of fucking course we knew that was gonna happen. There's a character named Aaron in this and I'm okay. We're all really just growing here. But yeah, I'm on chapter 33 and I'm really enjoying it. So I had a doctor's appointment virtually just now. This might be TMI, but I have been identified as having a high risk factor for breast cancer. Who jealous of me? But I just had my first appointment with a high risk specialist. I'm gonna get genetic tested, and my biggest fear was they were gonna tell me that you're so fat you're gonna get cancer because of you're fat. I asked her, is that the case? And she was like, No? So anyway, that was fine. I didn't learn anything new or concerning. Just staying proactive about it. If y'all are the death of me, you're getting cut off. Cut off. Anyway, yeah, it is 30 degrees outside today, so I'm gonna go bundle up. My god, my foundation is gone. This is me after laying in bed for 3 hours. Hi! I'm in my flannelsy pajamas, which is what I thought Macklemore said, and thrift shop, it turns out he said flannel zebra jammies. My 10-year fantasy was broken tonight by that. It is 20 degrees. I have a hot chocolate, and I didn't really read any of this yesterday and today, but I think I'm like 65% of the way through. Since the last time we talked, I launched my Patreon, and I spent last night crying for 30 minutes because the response to it was so unexpected. I was like, I'll get maybe 30 people. There's like 160 right now, which is crazy. So I feel like I have a whole new side job. I kind of freaked out because I felt grateful, then freaked out because I was like, oh my god, this is so many people to please. And I know I'm talking to my main channel that does not care, but this has been crazy. So if I look and feel like I'm elevated in spirits, I feel very good today and yesterday and probably for the rest of the fucking year, because that was amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading Icebreaker. It's already like 10:30. We'll see how much later I can stay awake to read, but I'm liking my book and it's fucking freezing, so I'm gonna get underneath all my covers and put this on my hands-free Kindle stand. This is a game changer if you live in cold weather, because my hands, I can like tuck up under the covers and they're not freezing anymore, so game changing. Was your brother attacking you? I'm sorry, Rosie. That's the update. Take your meds, girls. I swear if I wasn't recording videos, I wouldn't be taking them. And I'm being so serious about that. Delicious. Hey y'all! How are you? How'd you sleep last night? Good morning. I really don't have a life update at all. It's just the next day. I read a tiny bit of my book, but I got to a scene that I know something bad's gonna happen and then I had to stop. So I'm like 70% still, but I really want to finish that tonight and or tomorrow. We're expecting some wintry weather, so that'll be a good time. But for this clip, got a little surprise for y'all. Is that my address? It's not. I have a book haul. I was very, very kindly gifted a gift card by a subscriber named Panda. Love you, girl. She found my email and sent me 75 gold doubloons to bookshop.org, which, if you're unaware, that is a store that you can buy brand new books from and it will benefit local bookstores to you, whichever one you choose. I was able to order a couple of books, ones that I've been really looking forward to. It took a long time to narrow this down, so thank you, Hunter, for your help. So it's been so long since I've bought like a new release, new book for myself, so I'm thrilled. Let's see what we got. Well, I broke into this like a bear breaking into someone's camp supplies as Rosie gets chased around by her brothers and complains. So, one of the books that I got is volume 5 of Heartstopper. This is the only one that I still needed. Have not read it yet. Thrilled about it. I don't know if this is the final edition, but this is the next installment in Nick and Charlie's story. I have adored these since I think they came out pretty much. My goal was to buy books that I'm hoping I'm gonna love, so I know there's no way this will get less than a 4 or 5 stars, so it's a safe option. And then my other box, there we go. This first one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I know everyone and their mother has been raving about this series. I think it might be a trilogy. There's definitely a second one that came out, but the reason why I'm determined to love this is because Bonnie is obsessed with these books, and Bonnie's my bestie, and Bonnie and I have very similar taste. I have no idea what this is about. So excited to read that. And holy shit, this book is so much bigger than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know if you were like me, but I have been waiting for this book for over a decade. And if this book isn't good, it's gonna break me apart. Jandy Nelson, finally has another fucking book out. I had read both of Jandy Nelson's YA novels back when I was in high school. Adored them. She has been teasing she's gonna drop this one since 2015. So I'm here, I'm ready. And do I know what this is about? Not a goddamn clue. I really don't care. I'm obsessed with Jandy Nelson. I know this is gonna be about family, and I know it's gonna be so beautifully written, and if it's not, we're gonna pretend this never happened. But this is my book haul. I'm so excited for these. I'm probably gonna read them all this year, if we're being honest. So these are soaring right to the top of my TBR because they are ones that I am determined to be obsessed with. So thank you, Panda. Context, I'm filming this when the big winter storm in Texas is about to hit. When I was at work today, they canceled school for all the school districts around me for tomorrow. It's been like 20 degrees for the past 4 days. I just ran my dishwasher. Actually, no, I need to go turn it on. Oops. I need to go run one last load of laundry, and then I need to go shower because if my power shuts off, I might not have water. I was not prepared for any of our previous freezes, and this time around, I'm stocked with groceries. I'm determined if my power goes out, I'm gonna sit here and live it out with my cats instead of have my dad come pick me up. I got a few more chores I need to do around the house, but after that, it's me and this Kindle stand, and I'm getting this done. It's getting to the point where the book is, to me, kind of ready to be over. I'm like, okay, let's get this final competition out of the way and wrap it up. But there's still a lot of drama that she's unpacking. I will come back to you at the end with my final thoughts. Good morning and happy Saturday. I just finished Icebreaker. This was so cute. I would call this more of a college romance than a sports romance. There wasn't a whole ton about skating. I completely skipped the bonus chapters, and honestly I kind of wish I'd skipped the epilogue because it's a lot of fan service and I'm not into that. I don't care about your happily ever after. Even though this book definitely didn't have the strongest writing style, like this is one of those romance books that says the word freaking a lot, which is a kind of a pet peeve. Just because the characters were so emotionally intelligent, it made it better. So even though there were some really ridiculous scenes, like the characters fucking as Gru from Despicable Me and just some other like ridiculous moments like that, it was enjoyable. But I was talking about Bonnie about this last night, and she made a very reasonable point that it's great that he's an awesome male main character. He's definitely a man written by a woman, but he kind of does not have a hockey player vibe. You really never see him in action playing the sport, and he's very like sensitive and quiet and chill and like responsible. If you want like a hockey player who's a brute, anger issues, and whatever other stereotypes there are for hockey players, maybe not your book. If I'm being honest, it's like a 3.75 stars, but rounded up to 4. It didn't feel too long, but it is like a bit of a longer book. I like the found family aspects with the team. I like the drama she had with her skating partner, even though the argument around that with her boyfriend became so repetitive at some points. I can see why this is super popular. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's very solid. But while the last of the snow is on the ground, I really want to reread The End of Summer by Tilly Walden, which is one of my favorite graphic novels. I'll wait until I read it to give you a better description because honestly, I will save my full thoughts for when I give this a read. I know going outside is doctor recommended for a reason because it is like the best thing you could do for yourself, but I just read the entirety of this book while sitting on a bench looking out over a little snowy grass patch, and it was gorgeous. And I was just looking around at all the snow dripping and melting, and I was so happy. I returned Icebreaker to my library, so that's done now. And while I was there, I saw in their little like dollar bookshop the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. Hi, Dordo. Anyway, this is a very popular book about blackness in America, specifically around criminal justice. The byline for this is mass incarceration in the era of colorblindness. So I will never pass up the chance to get a book that will help my continuous battle of being anti-racist, which for $1 is a great deal. So let me know if you, Gordo, oh my god, his big ass bumped my camera. So let me know if you have read this and if it's a good read. Moving on to my review of this book. Here's how I would describe this. It's a royal family. There's a 3-year winter coming up, so they seal the doors. It's like if you open a window, you will die. It is that cold. And the main character is Lars, who's a sickly 11-year-old boy. He gets carried around the house on his giant cat named Nemo. He has a twin sister named Maya, and the whole premise of this book is that there was this royal family where just over the course of those 3 years, the book is in 3 parts, you see the family slowly go mad. And I think the reason why I love this book, it's definitely not like a wintry, Christmassy, yay, snow, fun, happy times book. It's very morose and all about the family politics, to the point where the characters are a little bit hard to distinguish. You have to really look at the details of their clothes, and this character has a mole and this character has, you know, small little differences. So this is a book that I could read again and again and again and find something new from, because there's so many little pieces just strewn about, but it's done in a way that doesn't suspend my disbelief where I'm like, what the fuck was that? I'm never reading that again, like I do with some other books. It's just like every single time I read this, there's a new nugget where I'm like, Oh, one of the main things that the author sought to do in this was to really expound on architecture, and you can really tell that like the setting of the book is almost a character in itself, because the grandness of the palace and like the emptiness of it, because the family is only like 7 people, but it's this massive house. It's kind of tea, but it's just crazy to see these characters grow up. I really sympathize with them and their mental health struggles. I'm not gonna say it's a sad book because I don't cry when I read this, but it's kind of heavy. But if you like books about family drama with a little bit of fantasy, and especially things that you kind of have to puzzle together, I love this book. It never really hits a full 5 stars for me, just because I think I need to read it like 3 times back to back to fully understand it. But I always like to, I don't know why I don't do it, because I kind of don't want to understand it all the way. I want to go back to it again. I think this was gonna be a reread every single year until I get tired of it, which maybe never. So I'm done with this, and I love it. It's like a 4.5 star for me. And with that, I have one other book that I want to read this weekend. Let's go intro her. Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. I just recently got this from the library. I'd never heard of this book till 2 weeks ago. I have been convinced by my friend Hunter. I was planning on reading this in the winter time anyway, but he just said he's gonna reread it this weekend, so if I want to join him I can, and he's already 40 pages in, so I gotta catch up. This is about a scientist, or just a wanderer named Franny, who goes to Greenland so she can watch this species of bird migrate. But Hunter says it's all about climate change, and it's very heartfelt, but the writing's beautiful and easy to approach. So I'm getting into some literary fiction. Pray for me, hold my hand, but I definitely am excited for this. I'm just gonna sit down and start this. Winter reads, snow time. Can you tell my mood is so great when it snows? It's so rare for me, like once a year, if that I'm just like, let's go put on some music and get it started. And just like that, 4 hours into my Lost at Sea in the Arctic ASMR on YouTube, I did it. It took me damn near all day, which I wasn't expecting because I kept getting distracted. So it's 11:30. I don't want to give away too much more of the synopsis because what I said earlier is pretty much what it is. It's a woman who, I struggle to summarize that because the whole book is like a character study of the main character. I don't want to give away too much, but she is someone who has a restlessness and just needs to leave and try and run from her past. And so she becomes obsessed with birds. This is actually set in the future where like no wildlife is still surviving, which I'll come back to that. It was kind of a touchy subject for me. She's become obsessed with Arctic terns because they migrate from the Arctic to the Antarctic, and that's like obviously a huge and long and incredible journey. And so she becomes obsessed with following them, and she commandeers a crew of people who are on a fishing boat. I don't know why they're fishing if there's no fish left, but like, again, I'll get to that. She's just on this ship with this ragtag group of people battling her demons, and the further that she goes and the more issues they experience, the more her emotions start to take a turn. You know the whole like John Green thing of like, she loved mysteries so much she became one. It was like, she loves animals so much she kind of became one. I don't really know how to describe this book. It was very interesting. I love a book about mean women and crazy women, women who are unlikable and unreliable narrators, so this had me hooked. I'm also not very much of like, this reminded me a little bit of Gillian Flynn, just because I've read like one book by her and I don't really read mystery thrillers. You think the main character is one way when you go into it and you're like, yay, science, yeah, let's follow a woman with her passions and her career. And then the more things go on, it's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like there's so many layers to her and you can't help but root for her, but also like she needs to be institutionalized. So it was just this fun journey of, I won't say fun, it was an interesting journey of learning why she is the way that she is. But let me round back to the whole thing about climate change, because I will say that was a main theme of this entire thing, is how much climate change has affected the world. That was the most difficult part of this book for me, because if it was just purely this story about a woman going on a journey because she's going through shit, and even if there was an inkling of like the birds are dying and blah blah blah, it just took me out of the story for them to constantly throw in the facts of like, oh yeah, all the lions are dead, oh yeah, we used to have wolves. It just felt a little bit too unrealistic, and like I couldn't see myself in the story anymore, because everything else was like fully contemporary and there was nothing different. That was just like one weird factor that kept itching at my brain a weird way. Also just the discussions about climate change. One of the characters in this book is a professor, so a lot of the discussions about climate change are like through his teachings, and so a lot of it is just so on the nose about like, we need to stop killing animals, humans are the worst, but everything else in this book is done very subtly, and so that part of it just also felt a bit glaring. This book was beautiful about a woman in trauma and escaping her past. What I wanted to also love, which was the entire theme of it being like migrations and human interfering with nature, kind of fell flat. But I do like that the main character had this obsession with nature, specifically the ocean. That was like her way of coping with the world, is to just go outside and look at the ocean. So in some ways this was a dedication to, and even at points like a eulogy of, nature. So I thought that that was really pretty. But most of all, this will just stick out as something that's like, if you love an unreliable, hard to like female main character who's just a little bit crazy and delusional, if you liked Moby Dick, you will be totally into this. It is so like man versus nature. I'm going on a journey to fill some part of me because I need to like run away from everything that's ever happened to me. It was so interesting, and I had never heard of this, so I'm gonna be very embarrassed if I log on to Goodreads to rate this and there's like 600,000 reviews. Yeah, not much else to say. I like the found family aspects of the crew that was on the ship. I could see this being a really good movie. I do recommend this. I think I'm gonna settle on like a 4 stars though, even though objectively I do think this is a good book. If you want a wintry read about climate change and crazy women, I need to stop calling her crazy because that is maybe not the right word for it, but a very well done book, I think. I read it in one sitting, in one day, so thumbs up from me. That being said, that means it's the end of this vlog. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed the winter vibes. I've already edited the first half of this video and I already missed the snow because it pretty much all melted today. Toodles! Mwah.